Sound therapy is a form of therapy that has been with us throughout the history of mankind on this planet. From the East to the West and even Africa, every nation has a way of how they utilize sound therapy in their healing. Hello beautiful people, and welcome to Self-Care Sunday with Monica. For today's session, we are going to be looking into sound therapy and how Africans have been using this form of healing or this form of therapy throughout our whole existence on this planet. Let's get into it. Now, before we start unpacking how Africans have been using sound therapy to actually heal themselves, let's first look into the word therapy and what it actually means. So the word therapy comes from Latin and Greek, meaning curing or healing. And as people, we need to realize that healing is basically accepting ourselves and trying to get ourselves to a place where we are whole again, to take the broken parts of ourselves and put them together and see that, hey, I might think this is insignificant about myself, I might think this is a flaw, but in accepting all of those parts of ourselves and healing the parts that we think are broken, that's how we are able to heal. Now, to heal ourselves, that can look like many different things for many people. And using sound therapy as a way of healing is something that different people have been utilizing throughout the planet. The only difference with Africans is that we don't have any documented history when it comes to our usage of sound therapy. However, there are still remnants of this within our culture that we can see till today and experience as well. Our ancient ancestors used chants, mantras, drums, and other instruments to heal themselves. We as Africans did not document our history, but we passed it down already to each other from one generation to the next. Learning about this for myself was just so validating because no matter where you are on this continent, we use music to heal ourselves. Whether you're at a wedding, whether you're going to a funeral, whether you're at a party, even if you're going to a public institution like a clinic, like here in South Africa, before the clinic starts operating, people will first sing and pray, and then the day will start. Our traditions, our cultures are truly ingratiated and intertwined with our day-to-day practices. And the usage of music as therapy is so evident to that. Okay, fine, so how do we then know as Africans what we actually did as sound therapy? Like, what confirmation do we have? Do we even need confirmation? Let's get into it. A farmer in Egypt spoke about ancient Egypt and how the Egyptians used music for its aesthetics, beauty, and spiritual meaning within the culture. Music therapy was a major aspect of the Bori religion in Nigeria, which is a pre-Islamic traditional religion of the Hausa people. I don't want to lie, but 90 days introduced me to Hausa people. So every time I hear about Hausa people, I can't help but think about Usman from 90 Days Fiancé. If you know, you know. In Zimbabwe, the Mbira is called Zabazimu, voice of the ancestors, and is still used today to initiate healing ceremonies in the Shona culture. Oh my Zim people, I hope I pronounced that correctly. I'm so sorry if I butchered that. Okay, now let's go to Ghana. In Ghana, the Ghanaian people actually use the Atentabang flute, which is made from bamboo, and this is also used for the sacred sites and sacred ceremonies, and it's a very important instrument of their culture. Lastly, we have the African drums. Africans have been using African drums throughout the continent. There isn't even a specific country I can point out to and say they have been using African drums for longer, or you know, all of us know and use the African drum. And an interesting thing I learned about African drums is that the beats that they play, or the rhythm of the drums, is very much intentional, and it is perfected in real time as the drummers drum away, and this has specific reasons. So when they drum, the way they drum, they're not just drumming like that, but there's actually a specific reason why they are drumming in that specific rhythm. Looking into self-care and just the different practices that we can utilize when it comes to self-care has been so interesting that it got me to a point where I'm thinking, as Black people, are we even practicing self-care the right way? Or are we just doing what everyone else is doing, where most people are following Western practices? On this journey that I've been on to decolonize, I never thought that this would even involve self-care and how I view it. But after doing some research, I found out that Africans actually don't meditate. Like literally, when I was doing research for this video, I found out that Africans have never used specific breath work or sitting in silence as a way of meditating. That does not come to us naturally. So then how do we meditate? How do Africans actually then meditate? Wow, that is a very, very interesting question. Let me just finish this lip and then I'll tell you guys how Africans are supposed to meditate. And there we have it. This is just my simple everyday makeup. Like if I don't want to think about it, if I don't want to, this is the makeup I go for. So then what is the answer? What is the best way for us as Africans to meditate? Well, you'll have to find out next week in our next session of Self-Care Sunday, where we will be talking about the best practices of meditation for African people. It's going to be very interesting. It's actually been scientifically proven that this method is better than medication or any other Western practices of meditation or anything that one can use to decrease your stress, anxiety, and all of that. So I know you guys want to know, so you have to join me next week for another beautiful session of Self-Care Sunday with Monica. Till then, good night, goodbye, God bless.